We're on.
All right.
So today's July 7th, 2020. Please introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and thank you for being here with us.
Well, thanks for having me, Jessica. My name is Tony West. I'm a freelance television camera operator, mostly doing Major League sports like baseball and hockey, which I haven't been doing much of lately. And I'm also a filmmaker, documentary filmmaker.
Yes, a very good one. I should add that was my editorial comment. But
Thank you.
the press club is certainly familiar with your work, and so
Yes.
we're really happy you're participating in this. And the reason you've been chosen for this as part of this series with approximately 30 other interviewees is because of the work or the lack of work since COVID started.
Yes.
So when was the aha moment that you realized the world had changed and you may not be working for a while?
Well, it actually started pretty early in March. We were doing a Blues hockey game, and the game started off like a normal. We were just covering the game, and the Blues sent word to us that we weren't going to be allowed into the Blues locker room after the game. It's that the Blues were going to bring the players into the press room, and we were going to interview them, like one at a time, and then we would interview them that way. And we were like, okay, starting to get serious, you know. we're not going in the locker room. So after that game, the Blues went on the road and never came back. Or at least they announced at that point, while they were on the road, that they were going to postpone the season.
So the hockey league?
Yeah, the NBA went out first, I believe, and then hockey right behind them. And I wasn't working a bunch of NBA, really none at this point. I mean, I've worked NBA before, but I wasn't working it this year. Mm-hmm. And so when the NBA went out, I felt like everyone was going to go out because it would be weird for one team to say we're not going to play and then the rest of the teams be playing like nothing's going on. I figured they would all go out together, and they did. And I figured, in my opinion, I figured they'll all come back together. Like, I don't think there will be like one league playing and then other people not playing. I think that's just an opinion, though. I'm not sure what they're going to do.
So you do baseball?
Yes.
Basketball, hockey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done NFL too. And but my bread and butter is really baseball. There's so many baseball games in a year. And so they're talking about starting baseball, in a couple of weeks. So we'll see how it goes. I know players are, they've got their testing in place, and I know there are some concerns with that, and some players are opting out. I do a lot of work with Fox Sports, and they have been communicating with us back and forth about the safest way we can cover the games before they even announced that they were coming back, because I think everybody was anticipating that they would come back at some point. And it's just how were we going to cover it so that everyone's safe, players safe, crew is safe, media and everything. And
how does that look? What does that look like? What are they talking about?
Well, basically what they're talking about is the use of more remote control cameras. I already operate a remote control camera, so I'm kind of already ready to go there. But we've added a couple more so that we don't have cameras in the dugouts close to the players. I think not just the Cardinals, but the league for Major League Baseball across the board, I think that's how they want to handle it. They don't want cameras like really close. There's probably going to be a limited number of media people even allowed in the building. As far as our television truck, a remote truck that a lot of us work out of, because I don't know if a lot of people haven't toured the trucks, but when you look at a Major League sports crew, it's really broken in almost in half of people who work outside the truck and people who work inside the truck. The truck, if you think of it, it's like a mobile control room television control room is basically what it is. It's like the director, the producer, the sound person, the people doing replays. I was actually in there too, operating my camera remotely from inside there. Video people who are controlling the look, the iris, colors of the cameras. They're all inside that television truck.
In a cramped quarter.
Right. So that's not going to work in COVID, in the new COVID atmosphere. So I can operate my camera from, any place. So I'm not going to probably be in there. And so we're still kind of looking at that. I mean, the guys engineers on the truck, they've been thinking about it for a while because we've been out for a while, and they're probably going to get as many people out of that truck as possible. And I think initially, that there weren't going to be any fans in the stadium. I still think there won't be any fans for a while in the stadium. We just have to kind of see how it goes. Everybody's just kind of playing it by ear. I know, like, probably I think the Cardinals will probably start either the 23rd or the 24th here in St. Louis, July, and then go on the road. They play 3 games here. I don't think anyone will be in the stadium for those games. And then they're talking about possibly having some people in there in August, but we just really have to see how it goes.
Did you all, well, I'm sure there was a rumor mill prior to March when, finally everything kind of stopped. But did you experience a lot of the rumor mill in February with regard to the pandemic?
Well, there weren't so much rumors for us because I look on the schedule for the Enterprise Center. I look on their schedule all the time, and just to see what other events are in there, because if there's something that comes into the arena, like a concert, then we have to take our cameras out of the building so that concert can be in there, and then the concert leaves, and then we come back in there with our truck and put cameras back in there. So we're constantly looking at the schedule to see, well, is there a concert there? And we were seeing that concerts were being postponed. So we started thinking, like, okay, well, if they're starting to cancel things, and then it's just, just kind of thinking about how contagious this is, and how players are in the locker room right by each other. They're on the bench by each other. Depending on what sport it is, they're making contact with each other a lot. And so how do you keep players safe in that atmosphere? How do you control it in that atmosphere? And so I was immediately just in my mind just thinking, boy, I could see this really being a challenge for sports. And it's been, working in sports has been unique because it really hasn't been affected by the economy as much, because people, if things aren't going well, people want to relax and watch and be entertained. Sports is entertainment. So they watch sports if they're in a good mood. They watch sports if they're kind of in a bad mood, whatever. They watch sports, period. So it's always been a good thing to work because you could kind of, it's not like doing a TV commercial where people say, oh, the economy's bad. We don't have a lot of money to do commercials. Sports, they've been doing it. And so now there's been work stoppages, been lockouts and stuff like that. But if there was a lockout, you just worked another sport, like if there's a hockey lockout, I'm going to do more of this football or basketball or something like that. But to have all sports stop at one time was just something I've never experienced, never could even imagine something like that. And when I talk to people who kind of have doubts about how serious it is, I always tell them, I said, have you ever remembered seeing all of Major League Sports shut down before in your life? Like in your lifetime? It's like, that's a very big deal. And so they're taking it very seriously, and they were taking it seriously from the very beginning. Like I said, we were told, you're not coming in our locker room, long before the Missouri governor made any kind of decision about what was going to be shelter in place, whatever. Sports was way ahead of that.
Did you see much mask wearing anywhere in early days?
No. Nobody was wearing a mask. Early on, nobody was wearing a mask. Because there were people still, like when we were covering, when the games were going on, everybody was in the stadium. I mean, the arenas were filled. Everyone was just going like, everyone just kind of felt like, I think there was one case in St. Louis, and people were like, well, where did that guy go? And, people were starting to think about it because, like, we're in St. Louis, and people thought, well, there's somebody in St. Louis, And, but it actually happened extremely fast. Once it started to go, I mean, it went, because I remember looking at the schedule and seeing them kind of like moving, before the Blues had come back, moving call times around, and I saw, more and more concerts being canceled, and I just like, it's coming for us, it's gonna be an issue. And so, I mean, even after sports got shut down, I still routinely see people walking around with no mask and just not taking it very seriously.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, you can't. I take it very seriously. I have a mask every place I go, my gloves and everything. So, but yeah, it really, people weren't thinking very much about it, and then it was just like, okay, you're out of work.
Was this oral presentation to you? You're out of work, or do you have documentation that says, well, see ya?
Well, no, I mean, we were just watching the news and stuff. As soon as we saw that the NBA was out, and then the NHL went right behind it, we knew we were out, because that's what we cover. And it was just a matter of how long will we be out. And it was hard for networks to tell you, because they didn't know either. I mean, like, nobody knew. Yeah. And people still don't know. I mean, people feel like, okay, we're going to try to get the hockey going. We're going to try to get some of these sports going. Will we complete these seasons? Nobody knows. Hopefully we can complete them, but I mean, we're just I mean, there were a lot of people who had questions for the crewers and saying, like, what's going on? Are we gonna televise? So what are we gonna do? And they said, I don't know. they didn't know either, because they're waiting on the league, and the league didn't know really.
So who calls you? Who calls you for a job?
We have a crewer. Okay. Each network has a crewer, whether it be NBC, ESPN, or Fox. They all have crewers, and I think actually they used to call us, but now we have an app on our phone, and they just send you like a request for a game. So like, you get this. Now we do get emails too. I mean, we haven't completely thrown those out. And then we got a mass email that said, hey, look, we'll let you know when we know, and as far as them trying to kind of keep us abreast of what's going on, they've sent us emails and said, hey, we know you guys are concerned, and we want to make sure you guys are safe. And like I said, we've got quite a few emails and surveys from them to reach out to say, what are some of your concerns, or what are some of your ideas that we could put into place about how we can keep everybody safe. And I thought that was really good for them to reach out like that, because sometimes things can be kind of top down, and this is how we're going to do things. Get with the system. It wasn't like that at all. They were like, we want to talk to you because you're doing it. What do you think you need to do to keep yourself safe?
So there was a lot of interaction these past few months, and continues to be. Yeah,
some people would probably say they want more. Everyone's different, but I think we had at least 2 or 3 surveys come out to say, and this was early. I mean, to say, hey, if we televise, because I think they need to know, like, if they decide, if the league says, hey, we're going to do these games, can you televise them, Fox Sports? Fox needs to know that they've got a crew that can do that. And so they had to be in communication with us and say, do you feel comfortable doing it? Because some people, to be honest, might not, you know. And so they needed to know how, could they put a crew together? Could they do it? And then respond back, I'm sure, to the league and say, yeah, we got enough guys that we can do it.
So tell me, Tony, what have your thoughts been these last few months with regard to your own work, the future of your work? It has to be wearing. It
is wearing. I think what really concerned me, and maybe I'm paying too much attention to, but I did network news before I got into sports. when we got postponed and sent out, basically out of work, I have like this counter, I call it the COVID counter, and I've been keeping track like every day. Like I look on there and I just look at the numbers. I look at the cases in the United States for the day. And when we went out in March, I want to say it was averaging about 25,000 a day. It was boom, boom, like consistently, like 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 25, like right around in there for months. Like it never like went down. It didn't seem like it ever went down to like 15,000 today. It just stayed right in that mid 25. And then it just went to 35,000. It was averaging around 35. I'm like, oh, it's going in the wrong direction. And then it went to 40,000, and now it's 50. And now they're talking about coming back. It's twice what it was when we went out. So that's difficult. That's good. I know they want to get back, and I know that they want to do it as safe as possible. I don't think they're going to do it if they think they can't do it safely. I don't think they're just going to we're just doing it. I don't really think they're going to do that.
So you have that confidence then.
Well, yeah, and I feel like, I don't have any reason to believe that they're just going to just force. But I'm not at the negotiating table or whatever. And look. The bottom line is, players going to have a lot to say about what's going to happen. And they're already speaking. I mean, we can look at interviews like anybody else, and you can see players saying, hey, look, I'm out. And other players are testing positive, or I can see players complaining that, hey, you're not getting the test back quick enough. You were supposed to get them back, daily or whatever. And it's been days and you haven't gotten them back. We don't know what the results are. So they're already running into challenges, and I'm looking at stuff like that, and I to be perfectly honest with you, I had planned on not working any sports the rest of the year. I just figured I'm probably not going to get any sports. If it comes back early, great, but I'm prepared to, in my mind, not get anything, even though they have a schedule now. I put the schedule out, I guess, a couple of days ago. But we haven't played a game yet. We still got weeks to go. And even if we get into that schedule, how far will we make it through there? Nobody really knows. So I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time.
Are you doing any other creative outlets while you've been away from this work that you feel so passionate about? I know you do.
Yeah, that's funny. Like I just put together a piece of that kind of honors Black women doing the civil rights movement. I thought, wow, I'm gonna put something like that together. Like I normally wouldn't have time to do something. I'd be working all the time, but now I had a friend of mine sent me an email about the Beatles song Blackbird. And I've always liked that song, but I didn't know the history behind it and how he wrote that song about Black women doing the civil rights movement. And I thought, that's pretty incredible. I wonder how many other people don't know that. And so I put together a video that is a tribute to his song and a tribute to those women. And I use a lot of women doing who have probably been forgotten about, or some people might not know. And I kind of put the credits in the back so people can look some of those women up. And like Fannie Lou Hamer, people like that, like, who is that? You know, people, maybe young people in this generation might, because there's a lot going on right now with Black Lives Matter. And there's a lot of awareness because people are just sitting in their houses and they're watching things on their computer and they're becoming aware of things. And I just kind of like, what? It's kind of some history about what was going on back then that you could kind of look up. So yeah, I've been able to, you know, do little projects like that it keeps your skills up, your editing skills.
So besides the, wondering, of course, the concern about when you'll go back to work, there any other thoughts that you have had with regard to your work and the future of your work? How it's going to be done in the future?
Yeah, that's yeah, I've been concerned from the very beginning. If my primary concern, you know, obviously, not to get too far off track, but my primary concern is people dying. I know people who've had relatives die, you know, so it's horrible. And I want to see this thing in check to protect lives. And first and foremost, and then after that, okay, how can I do my job? Because I think that once we're able to get this thing under control, and it really takes teamwork. I mean, it's all other countries are like putting this thing down, you know, because they're wearing their masks and they're washing their hands and they're keeping their distance. Countries like Japan, and Japan's like right next to China. You know, it's a world on the other side of the world. And I think Japan had barely had 1,000 deaths. You know, it's they wore their masks and they've been on that for a long time. And we haven't really been used to doing stuff like that. And we've all been on an airplane and seen Asian people with their mask on way before this started and kind of snickered a little bit like, oh, look at them with their little mask, isn't that cute or whatever, you know. But we should have them on now, you know. That's so cute and funny now, you know. Everybody should be doing what they were doing, you know, a while back. And I think we can. People are starting to like take it a little bit more. So it's hard not to take it seriously when you see these numbers going up. And if you're paying attention at all and you see hospitals that they're running out of beds in major cities, that is a big deal. So like, where are you going to go? Even if you don't have COVID, the hospital beds are being taken up. So I think we not enough of us took it seriously enough early on in these 3 months when we should have just really clamped down like everybody else was doing. And now it's kind of out there and rampant. So yeah, I feel concerned about sports, and they do too. I listened to interviews with the players, and I'm very concerned because, you know, why wouldn't they be? I mean, they know that they're gonna. It's different from even like a job where, I don't know, like you're at a counter with a mask and hopefully your patrons come in with their mask. You're not like having contact with the players. Walks up to the plate. They can't wear a mask at that point, and probably the catcher's not wearing one. So I mean, there's times where you're going to be standing on first base with a guy that's not wearing a mask. It's just going to be hard.
The emotions after a win or the emotions after a loss. Yeah.
It's also strange for a lot of players to play in front of an empty stadium, and some of them have voiced that concern because it's like they play for the fans, and then you look over there, there's no one in here. I mean, that's gonna be very strange. There's like you get a home run, there's no one's clapping for you. I mean, that'll be weird. Like the ball probably will hit, I guess, some seat, and it'll echo in this empty stadium. Your teammates will be clapping for you, but it'll be a historical just experience, just because we've never covered anything like that before.
Well, so you see it impacting how you cover something because
Yes,
those moments, is this what you're saying? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
yes, those kind of moments, and let's face it, it's going to be an economic drain because right off the bat, they're going to have fewer people in there covering the game. That's an economic problem right there, because if you're like, okay, we can't have as many people, or somebody's sitting at home who would have been down there covering that game. They're going to really try to shrink it down across, not just here, across the country. And we've had a very fortunate ride for a long time with sports, because sports has just kind of expanded over the years, because it's a unique job where people just want to get away from things and escape into sports. And that's why I think it hasn't been affected with how the economy goes up and down. It just keeps kind of going because people, I got to watch that game. I need to know what my team's doing. What's going on? I've been at work all day and I'm frustrated. Well, I'm fortunate to have a job that I love. A lot of other people do. But there's a lot of people who have jobs that are like, I hate my job. They just straight up tell you. And they just want to get away. And when they have the opportunity to get home, they want to watch the game, they just want to forget.
fandom is an extraordinary power.
It is. It's huge. It's huge. I have people call me all the time. And so asking me like, what's going on with you? What's going on? And they constantly tell me, I miss like driving in my car hearing the game. Like I can't hear the game, and I get a lot of that. So I know, and I knew even before, because I don't know, sometimes when we're working a game and they'll get a shot of they get a shot of me or something. They're like, Tony West, he did a documentary, blah, blah, blah. He's a cool guy. We got good, really cool announcers and stuff. And like, I'll be on camera for like a second and like, I'll bring the phone, just blow up. Like all these people will see it. I'm thinking, man, it's everyone must be watching, because just by the reaction, it's like, well, there's some people watching. But no, your phone will just blow up because there's so many people who were watching when you were on the screen for a second. So it's sports is powerful. It really is. And I always tell people it's an important part of society because it teaches people about teamwork, working together. See, that's a lesson here. COVID, beating it, it's about teamwork. And, the team, as good as individual players are, you need to play as a team. And that's what we need to do against COVID. We need to play as a team. And we haven't been playing as strongly as a team as we can play, as we can. And,
Can you say that you, in your profession and your colleagues, your professional colleagues, have played as a team up till now?
I would say my colleagues, yes, we've played as a team because we're our media people and we understand what's at stake here. As a country, we have not played as a team. As a country, going against this virus, we just have people you have people arguing about like, let me in that building without my mask or what, it's just, it's just like a big battle over just, how to take on a virus. It's just, we united to win World War II. We can't beat this virus. We gotta unite and beat this virus. We gotta beat this virus into the ground so we can get back to doing, to save lives, first of all, and then we can get back to enjoying ourselves at the game, at the concerts and stuff like that. Because look, there's industries, even if they open back up, like even if they said, hey, everyone can come to the game, how many people are going to come to the game? Like, they're not going to have that. Some people are going to come because they're just like, well, I don't care about them. There's really a lot of people who won't go. Like there's a lot of people who won't go to a movie theater if they open it back up, even though if they say, hey, sit in these seats, whatever. This is going to be different. And I think that everybody across the board is going to have to change the way they do things into, there's a vaccine until we beat this thing into the ground. And we're a long way in this country from beating it, a long way from that. So it's, not like we can still beat it, but man, we got a lot of work to do. And, I think at some point, like I said, I think that's going to change because unfortunately, when common sense and compassion doesn't do it for you, the dollar does. And you're frankly not going to make money until we get it under control. And that's going to like click for people. There's a lot of people going along, oh yeah, everything's great, blah, blah, blah. At some point, it's going to affect your bottom line. And like people, even like media people like us, it's all union work. We make a good living down there. We spend a lot of money into the economy and not working as much, not going to spend as much. And we're at the, upper middle class here, whatever you want to call that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we're kind of those people who are like buying the computers and the new cars and stuff like that. That's really kind of like, helping the economy go. And, I think there's a lot of people that's like, well, I kind of need a new cell phone, but not yet, not yet.
Well, Tony, this has been a nice conversation. Thank you. I think it's been enlightening. And I, on behalf of the Press Club, wish you a good future ahead. I know you're anxious to get back to work. And in the meantime, thank you for all you've done. And we look forward to watching those sports again and know that you're behind the camera.
Well, thanks for having me, Jessica. Thanks so much. And thanks to the Press Club. The Press Club has always been supportive of my work, my documentary, everything. And so much thanks to the Press Club for that. And much thanks to you, Jessica. We've been friends for a long time. You've done great work in community. I'm happy to be a part of the work that you've done.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.